the Big LG Doc Gallows, and you're watching the Wrestling Junkies. Boom.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Wrestling Junkies Podcast. I'm Mr. Cincinnati. As always, I'm joined by that handsome devil, the podcast dad. Choops, how we doing, bud?
I'm good. Like I said, I wanted to come in with a large and tall beer for tonight, but throat's a little scratchy from the weather here in lovely Ohio, which seems to change every 2 minutes. So I have a vanilla honey citrus mint tea. Cheers.
I like it. A lot going on in that Starbucks cup, but I'm glad that you're upright and able to join me tonight because we got a hell of a show for everybody. So always good to see you, and thank you to everybody that's tuned in. As always, you can find us on X and TikTok at Junkies Pod. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Junkies Pod, but most importantly, do us a huge favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We need your help to get there. Podcast Dad, what is that magic number?
It's just one. Tell one person if you like what we're doing here. Also, if you see our clips on YouTube, why don't you throw us a like? That also helps.
Yeah.
I had to explain that to my mom actually today, who, when I went to go pick my kid up, was watching one of our clips, and I said, "Did you like this?" And she's like, "I don't know how to do that." So, like, share, subscribe.
Yes. Every little bit helps. There's plenty of room at the table that we're building here. So tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your backshop buddy, bartender, dispensary person, therapist, doesn't really matter who. While you're at it, show some love to our friends at the Main Event Wrestling Network at mainevent_net on all social media platforms. I'm not sure if you guys have heard yet, but we have a couple of new contributors joining the Main Event Network family. Our boys, Between Two Beards, JPJ and Pluggo, joining us on our journey here in 2026, kicking ass and taking names and doing some cool shit. So welcome, boys, and we are making the moves and we're growing. This is fucking awesome, and we're happy to have everybody along for that journey. Podcast Dad, before we introduce our guests real quick, video put on TikTok got a little bit of traction here. The fact that the Royal Rumble, no build, no advertising, no nothing, and that remains the case today. So still sweating? Yeah,
nope.
That's what I figured. Yeah. It's okay. Well, they'll hopefully get their shit together. That's all the WWE that we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to move over to the land of the elite right now because this is not a normal episode tonight, man. When the Frat House shows up, class is canceled. Our guest tonight is AEW and Ring of Honor standout, a man who brings energy, confidence, and absolute chaos wherever he goes. Preston Vance. You know him as a member of the Frat House, but tonight he's pulling up to our table. We're talking a little bit of AEW, Ring of Honor, some locker room stories, life on the road, everything that comes with being a part of one of the wildest stables on TV right now. So grab yourself a drink, pull up a chair, and get ready because the party starts right now. Everybody, welcome Preston Vance to the Wrestling Junkies Podcast. Preston, what's going on, man? How are you?
What's up, guys? Do you know what I just realized? I didn't realize you guys were from Ohio. I hate that. When you said Mr. Cincinnati, I was like, oh, shit, I wouldn't have done it if I knew that.
That's okay. It's just him. I only root for UC, and they suck. So
Okay.
I mean, we're not OSU fans.
You are.
Okay, that's fair.
A hell of a lot worse.
That's fair.
Yeah, it could. You could be a Bengals fan. Yeah.
Fuck off! Sorry. All right, this is not about us. Okay, leave it alone. No, we did not make the playoffs. How did your team do last week, bud?
They were in the playoffs. Nothing you don't know about.
Well, you know what? Could have fooled me. Anyway, let's get this shit going here. Preston, before we dive into everything that you're doing right now, we're gonna fire up the Wayback Machine a little bit because your journey didn't start on national TV. So, for people that might not know the full story yet, who was Preston Vance before wrestling?
Before wrestling, I went to Central Michigan University. I graduated, did my last exam, but I knew I wanted to do pro wrestling. So my senior year, I printed out like stacks of paper of all the wrestling schools in the country, which there's a ton of them, and for every good one, there's about 100 shitty ones. They're just going to take your money. Then I stumbled across the Monster Factory. So, I had my college graduation that weekend, and I contacted the owner, Danny Cage, and he's like, come down this weekend. I called my mom, was like, hey, I'm not walking at graduation. They'll send me my, degree in the mail. I already graduated, don't need to. So I packed up my stuff, went there, met QT, who we like clicked instantly. And then Damian Priest was one of the coaches, and Blue Meanie. Then I went back to Michigan, decided I'm going to do this. I grabbed as much stuff as I could fit in like hefty trash bags and put it in the back of my Mustang and just drove. Had nowhere to live, lived basically homeless for like 4 months. But I had enough money for a gym membership, so I lived out of a Snap Fitness parking lot. And I was so like embarrassed that I was homeless at that point that I would cook all my food for the day at like 2-3 in the morning in like the bathroom gym. And then when I got there, QT recently had gotten injured, so he was like not there. So I was like, that he was like the main reason I wanted to go there, because we became pretty good friends right off the bat. So then Damian Priest was the other coach, and he's a very intimidating guy. And I was like, I don't know how we're really gonna vibe or get along. Same thing. Damian and QT have a very, very pivotal role in my career, especially Damian in the very beginning. And then Blue Meanie was great. So yeah, before wrestling, I played ice hockey for 12 years. So that was kind of my first love along with pro wrestling.
What was the point you realized, hey, I'm not just a fan, I'm going to do this?
8 years old. I wrote an essay that I want to be a pro wrestler on TV, and I'm sure my mom still has it somewhere in her house.
Who were some of your favorites growing up?
So my favorite wrestler of all time is Billy Gunn, which is cool because now I work with him and we're boys, and I'm really good friends with Austin and Colton, which is cool. Austin actually used to live right above me in the same condo, and we used to tear Jack's beach up.
Nice. I love that. So you mentioned getting into wrestling 8 years old. Not too much longer after that, you found yourself in the middle of a food fight that you started, canceling your middle school graduation. What happened there?
Yeah. Yeah. That just got on Twitter recently because one of the sign guy had a thing that we didn't graduate middle school, which technically is true. I never did a middle school graduation, but the whole class, I come from a really small school. I think my graduating class was like 94 people, and we were all pretty good friends and stuff. So we all kind of conglomerated together and orchestrated this food fight in the one of the last days of school. And we were all like, it's not going to be like that big. And I mean, it was like from a movie, like you couldn't even see in front of you. There was so much shit flying around, and we were like, oh, we did it. And then like the last 3-4 days, we weren't allowed to leave the classrooms at all to do anything. And we had to all stay in one room. But I don't know, it was a cool kickoff to summer. I remember telling my dad that graduation was canceled, and he was like happy because he didn't want to sit through that shit anyway. So
as someone that has also kind of participated in a food fight, it was a lot of fun. Looking back, does that feel like an early sign of your personality now?
I think I would say like end of high school is when I realized I like to I love being around people, man. I love socially drinking, we call it, right? So I love going out. I love being around people. I would say in college is when I really realized, like, man, maybe one day I'll grow up, and then the next year I'll grow up this year. Then I'm like, man, maybe this is just me, So I kind of dive into the same characters as like Rob Gronkowski or Johnny Manziel, I guess.
Let's go Gronkowski. Manziel's not doing too
Yeah.
well.
We'll stick with Rob Gronkowski.
Now, Preston, those early years, they have a lot of humor and levity and awesome moments, but your story also includes some resilience that people don't always see. And you've been very open about your Crohn's diagnosis at a young age. What did that experience teach you early on about life and discipline?
So I think that taught me a lot, and I honestly don't know if I'd even be wrestling if not for that, because when I first got diagnosed, I got diagnosed at 10, so I was young, before you even really know what's going on with anything in the world. And then a doctor tells you that you have this like autoimmune disease, and you don't even know what that means at that point, But I remember I would be back and forth from the University of Michigan hospital, and I remember like sitting in like the waiting rooms or the hospital beds, whatever, and I would always like Google pro athletes or whatever who have Crohn's disease, and I would find them, and like it would almost like give me inspiration, like I can still do all the shit I want to do. Because these guys did it. So that made me think too, like, man, I would love to become a pro wrestler for that component alone. Like there could be another 10-year-old kid going through the same thing I'm going through, and they have this dream to be a pro wrestler, and then they can see that I did it. So now it's kind of like, oh, well, you can also do it. It's not gonna hinder you. And then it also taught me the really main thing is people always have it worse than you. Cause I was in like these children's hospitals and I see these kids with like, cancer and like all this. And I mean, even at that young age, I hated seeing that. So it made me almost like, man, what I have isn't that bad. You know what I mean? So it made me almost appreciate like it can always be worse.
Did you at all have like I don't want to say chip on your shoulder? Or
oh yeah, big time, big time.
Did you feel like you had to work twice as hard because of this?
I still feel like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. So when, you got this diagnosis and you said, hey, this is what it is, I'm going to have to move forward. What kept you pushing forward? Was it just the dream of being the wrestler or what kept motivating you?
I think so. I think my mom was more upset than I was because I didn't know anything. I didn't know what it was, And then, but I think it was, like I said, I come from a really small town. So like, I come from a town where no one really does anything notable. It's like you either work on a farm or you take over the family business or you work in a factory or stuff like that. And I have a really good friend group. I'm still best friends with all my friends from preschool, but when I told people that I want to do this, it was like, it wasn't like they didn't scoff at it. It was like, oh my God, do it. So I remember, it was like, I was like the talk of the town. So it was like all these people believed that I was going to make it. There was no one who was like, oh, he's not going to make it. It was actually quite the opposite where it was like, he's going to make it. So instead of like having to prove everyone wrong, I was trying to prove everybody right, which I sometimes think is harder because if you make it, then it's like, oh yeah, we knew he was going to. And if you don't, it's like, oh, what the hell happened? So I think that played also a really big role in where I'm at.
Awesome. So, looking back at training at the Monster Factory, again, you referenced relationships with Damian Priest, Blue Meanie. In those first days of training, was there ever a moment where, you're kind of going through those early reps, they're putting you through the ringer here? Do you ever have that thought of, I don't know if I'm cut out for this?
Honestly, no, not really. And maybe I was just stupidly arrogant, but even like, I don't know, there was never a doubt like that I wasn't gonna make it. I mean, I've had 2 W tryouts like on the table, like offered. And I tore my ACL before both of them.
Oh,
and
wow.
I mean, I was like depressed, but I never once was I like, oh, I'm just gonna hang it up and not do it. I was like, I'll just get this surgery and I'll just keep going, So no, I think that as soon as I stepped in there, I knew I was cut out for it, but I also didn't realize like how hard it would be. It's almost like learning a new language, if that makes sense. That's how I always describe it to people. But no, I think I was just, like I said, maybe stupidly arrogant or confident. Like I never once doubted myself.
So you've mentioned QT now a few times. He is your wrestling dad, short quote. What has he given you, in the ring? We know. What about beyond the ring? What lessons has he taught you outside of that ring?
Everything. And the main one he told me, this was a long time ago, but he said, when you get into wrestling, they always have a gun to your head and don't ever give them a bullet, basically. Meaning like, just be a good person, like when I get asked by people who are trying to make it, like, oh, what's the advice you have? I never talk about the wrestling. I always say, be in the best shape you can be in and just be a good person. That will take you really far in wrestling, And then the other one, he said to, instead of be like the checklist of like wrestling, look, promo, all this stuff, instead of being like okay at all of them and kind of like spreading yourself thin and being like a C on all of them, like it'd almost be better to be an A at one and be not that great at another. So you really like stand out, at one thing. But the bullet one, I mean, you can use that in like any aspect of life,
What and I don't want to say he doesn't get the respect he deserves, but like he's very like underrated when people talk about wrestling. Why he has such a great mind? Like why do you think that is?
I don't know because I definitely don't think he gets the flowers he deserves. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people in this business, and he for sure has the best mind in and out of the ring. Like, and he's just a cool fucking dude, man. He's. I mean, I've known him for 10 years now. He literally is like my big brother. But he's he knows wrestling. Like, he's just like a wrestling savant.
And he's done some like pretty high profile stuff in AEW. Like he's wrestled the Costco guys. he's done the stuff with Paul Walter Hauser.
Yeah.
Like those are some. You have to have a lot of trust to go in there with those celebrities to go do that.
He can make anyone look good, man. Literally anybody. I've seen it like at training before. Like he'll bring some of these kids in here, and it's like he can make anybody look like a star.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and kind of speaking to that wrestling mind, what are the intangibles that we may not be thinking of as fans or viewers that make up a great wrestling mind?
Like the psychology. That's the main, I'd say, is the psychology part. You'll think you have like a good idea, and then he'll tweak it, and you're like, damn, that's really like genius,
Yeah. What's the big? And we talked about outside of the ring. What's the biggest piece of advice inside the ring that you were like, man, this is it?
Ooh, honestly, have fun and don't worry about it, because I caught myself when I was first starting. I'd get so anxious and nervous, and QT would, and I've seen him tell some of the younger guys in AEW, Cole Carter, for example, he would get nervous, and he would tell him, just have fun. If you mess up, you mess up. Like, it's not the end of the world, And that he's like, he's very good at like calming your nerves. So yeah, I would say, like he like basically tell you like don't like take it seriously, but don't take it that seriously, because then if you get so worked up, you're gonna mess up, and then you're not gonna be yourself and have fun. So yeah, I would definitely say that's probably and I mean I pass that along to Cole, for example, because I work with him so much. But to him, like just like don't worry about it. If you mess up, you mess up. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's great advice.
Yeah,
so let's. You said early on you would get nervous all the time. Let's talk about that. Those first couple matches on the Indies. How did those go?
Yeah, I don't know when I stopped being nervous, but I was super nervous, and you come out, you don't really know what to do. You're just kind of bland. Yeah, I don't know. Like in the ring, I always felt pretty okay, but it was like the other stuff that was like weird for me to do. So yeah, I don't know what moment it like really clicked. But yeah, I mean, I think I got over my nerves rather quickly though within the first couple of years.
Love that. So you're cutting your teeth on the indies. You're learning yourself, your character. Then everything changes, man. Tell us about kind of when you first heard the initial rumblings about AEW coming into existence.
Okay, that was I was living in Atlanta, and I was training at QT school, and at that point, I was coming off of my second ACL surgery. This would have been like 2019, early 2019, and Cody also at the time, him and QT had kind of met and developed a relationship. I think QT was more so training Brandy. So he was always kind of around the school, and I would hear the rumbling of this new company starting. And I would get to talking to Cody and stuff, but I never would ask him like about wrestling or like for a job, for example, and stuff like that. And I remember he asked QT, like, does Vance even want to wrestle? And he's like, yeah, why? He never talks about like it to me. And QT's like, well, Vance doesn't like, he's your friend because of like, he likes you, not because of who you are, But I'd hear these rumblings and stuff, and it's like, oh, that's great for everybody because it's another outlet to wrestle,
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I would say 2019 is when I heard about it, and then Cody at that point when I got cleared like to wrestle, he basically gave me like his whole Rolodex of indie promoters, and he'd reach out to the promoters for me sometimes to get me booked on like these shows like in California and New York. And like, so that last year I did the indies in 2019, Cody was like the main, I mean, he was very pivotal in that for me. And then the pandemic happened, and then I did a dark match with Darby And I remember I was in Michigan, and it was COVID had just started, and QT called me. He's like, "Hey, can you come do a dark match with Darby in Jacksonville?" So I booked a flight, and I was the only passenger on the whole flight. And then, and then I landed, wrestled Darby the next day, and I got through the curtain. I was like, "Oh, that felt good." And Darby's, I mean, he's top 5 my favorite to work with, and he gave me a lot. And then the following week, like the whole world had literally shut down, so we filmed like 6 weeks of TV at QT School in Atlanta, and that's when I met Brody, and then we talked for like, I don't know, probably 2 hours that night, just about life, everything. And then the next day, he went to Tony and was like, "Hey, I want Vance with me in the Dark Order. I'll take care of him on screen, off screen, whatever." I think I was the first person signed during the pandemic. I think me and Anna Jay were the first 2 people signed during the pandemic.
Wow, that's awesome. What was that first day in the AEW locker room like?
So it was weird because it's like we were just in QT school, so it felt like, you know what I mean. It wasn't like, you didn't really have that moment of like, oh, this is what it's like, because it was, so that first year, we were in Jacksonville, so you never really had that. There was no crowd. Yeah. So it was like, this is okay. Like, it was super fun. And like, I loved the Jacksonville days. And that's when the locker room we got so close, like a legit family. But then I remember our first show back on the road was in Miami. And I remember walking out there, and I was still at Dark Order at that point, and I was just like, holy shit, this is crazy. So that was like the first moment when I was like, wow, this is awesome.
Now, and all these changes, there's a whole lot going on in the world at the time, and things are just kind of in flux, and especially when it's a live touring entertainment product, and he's extremely hands-on owner from what we've seen. Tell us about kind of those interactions with Tony Khan in the early days of the pandemic, you being signed, and kind of that adjustment. You're adjusting to the locker room, but everybody's adjusting to kind of the world shutting down at the same time.
I mean, Tony's awesome. He's a great boss, always has been a great boss, especially those early days, when he was very accessible to all of us, like big time. I mean, we would hang out like outside of work, because he lived in Jacksonville, we were in Jacksonville, and he was just like, he's someone who like cares about his, like, we're not just like a number to him. Like, he cares about his wrestlers as like humans, like big time. He's great. I mean, I would watch like the Jags games in his dad's suite, and like he's not like a normal billionaire, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of these, you think billionaire and you have to have this preconceived notion of how they are, and it's like, Tony couldn't be the more opposite. Like, he's just like, it's just a normal, like, cool dude. He knows so much about wrestling. You could like say a match, he'll tell you the date, the day of the week, the venue, like everything. Like, he loves wrestling, and he is so hands-on. I don't think he's ever missed an AEW show ever. Like, even like Dark, Elevation, Ring of Honor, Rampage when we had it, Collision, like, he's there for everything behind that monitor. So he's not like phoning it in like this billionaire who owns it. Like, he literally does everything.
What do you think the biggest misconception about him is? And is there anything that surprised you about Tony?
Like, I mean, I was surprised he was so cool, because before I met him, I also had that, like, oh, he's this rich billionaire. Like, I just, you just have that they have that stigma, and then you meet him and you're like, oh, this is like my buddy, like, this is awesome. And then what was the other part of that?
What do you think the biggest misconception about him is?
I don't know. I mean, if people think that he phones in and he's not there and hands-on, then they're like completely wrong, because he's super hands-on. I don't know. I don't know really what people would think, where I could like, hey, this is how he is. But yeah, he's an awesome boss, very hands-on. I love working for him. He's someone who makes you want to, like, almost like, I want to make him proud, because he like, has so much trust and belief in you. You want to like deliver on it.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. And I mean, that's certainly, we certainly heard a lot of these same things from other talents and interviews of just how gracious he is with his time and opportunity. So it's, the wrestling world is certainly better by having Tony Khan as a player in it. So I've got to ask you, what was the reaction when you were told that you're going to be going under a mask with the Dark Order?
Ooh, I hated it. I hated it. Because I never wore one on the indies, and then I don't even know how to wrestle in one, because when you take away your face, that takes away so much of everything you do. And I remember QT pulled me aside and told me about it. And I was like, dude, I don't want to do that. And he's like, just sign the contract. So I did. And then I ended up loving it because, for one, it made me a better performer, because now you do have to know how to wrestle without being able to use your facial expressions and everything. You have to be able to control your breathing better. And then the cool thing too is, on Twitter, I would always have fans design all my gear for me, and they would come up with these cool mask designs and stuff. So it was like, and having that mask, it just kind of added another element, and it was different because it's like most of the mask guys are lucha guys. Then when you have someone who's not, you can kind of go a different route. So I actually I liked it. It was challenging, but that's one of my most favorite parts of my career. And I think something that I'll always be kind of synonymous with is the 10 thing. Cause I'll do indie shows and people will still chant 10 and it ring up, you know what I mean? And it's and I don't hate it. I mean, that is part of my career, and that's how I got started, on TV and but to answer your question, when I found out, I hated it. And then I grew to absolutely love it.
One of the most layered stories was the Dark Order's relationship with Hangman.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel with that story, and what did you learn at all from that storytelling?
It was long-term storytelling. I think that's the best kind. And there was always little Easter eggs, and as a fan, I love seeing stuff like that. Not even just in wrestling, and movies and TV shows. It's I loved when you have to look for these little Easter eggs and stuff like that. And Hangman's so good too. So it was cool to work that closely with him, with someone who's been, he was in the original Ring of Honor and then AEW. So he's been someone who's consistently kind of been on TV for years, and it was cool to watch how he did things. So you could just learn by watching stuff that he does, and you could pick up on things. And I think it really helped the whole group, all of us in Dark Order, having that connection with Hangman for just TV purposes, and then also personal career growth. I love that. I love that story, and I love, like I said, I love the long-term storytelling in anything, wrestling, TV, movies.
Yeah, and I mean, especially when it comes to a character like that, what more do you think that you learned about emotional wrestling storytelling? We've talked about the long-term aspect of it, but there was such a unique emotion that was evoked out of any interaction that Hangman had with you guys. What do you think the secret to something like that is?
I think what helped is we're all actual real friends, so it's easier to have that connection with somebody, because then it's almost it's real. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, working with him with the long-term storytelling helped me a lot when I turned on Little Brody, because that was also long-term storytelling and was a very emotional, thing. So it kind of was doing the Hangman thing helped me a lot with my development in that aspect.
Yeah. And then, there's not a real easy transition to this, but, Brody obviously meant a lot to a lot of people and a lot of fans alike. You said he handpicked you to be in this group. What did Brody Lee mean to you personally?
I mean, he's the main reason that I got a job. And people had this I'd read stuff and people were oh, I was his nephew, all this. I met him one day and he was I want to be with him. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to. And at that point, he was new in AEW, so he didn't have to put his name on me or stamp. I could have been a complete, fuck up and but he believed in me and trusted me. So it was the times that we were together. It's I grew very close with him. And then even when I met Little Brody and Amanda and stuff, the first time I met Little Brody was backstage in Jacksonville, and I was just in normal street clothes, and he, hello, that was it. Then when he saw me put all the stuff on, he instantly was like, he told his mom like, "Oh, that's 10." So then he was just like stuck to my side, which is cool because that must mean like, his dad must have, talked pretty highly about me at home. And, on TV, it kind of was like, I was like his, like handpicked guy and stuff. And, at that point he was 8 years old. So they think all that's like, like such a real thing. So yeah, it was, yeah, it's like something that, it's like a debt I'll never be able to pay, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What do you think that he would say about where you are right now in AEW today?
I mean, he knew how I was. He knew how I was like off screen, so he would probably think this is pretty fitting. But I always think the other way. Like, man, I wonder where all of us would be if he was still here.
Yeah.
I think about that all the time, and I know the other guys do too. But I think he would definitely think it's very, very fitting.
Is there anything that you do, to try to honor him in that ring, or are you just kind of, hey,
Yeah.
I'm not going to touch it kind of thing?
Yeah, my finish, I mean, I do the whole thing. The discus lariat.
Yeah.
This thing, like I do the whole thing still, even not in Dark Order. So yeah, that's like the little homage I pay to him.
Love that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a little bit of a tone shift now. Let's get to the frat house.
Okay.
How did this come together?
So this was so at this point I had just left LFI and I was kind of floating around. Griff was tagging with Cole. Cole was injured, so Griff was kind of floating around, and Tony wanted to put me and Griff together, and then Cole when he came back, and it was like just three good-looking jack dudes, I guess. And then Jameson at that point, now he was on his own, and Jameson's he trains with QT and stuff in Atlanta, and so now I'm trying to spot for him. And I've known Jameson since the day one he started. I've known Griff for like 8 years. Cole I kind of met in AEW, but and like I said, in the early days I would hang out with Tony a lot, so he also knows how I am outside of wrestling. So I think it was like a good just let him go be yourself, So they got like pitched. I don't know who came up with the actual like frat house gimmick, but I remember I was like, oh, that's at least for me, that's fucking perfect. So I think it was just kind of like we all get along like really good, in real life and talk all the time and stuff. So it's kind of like just natural good chemistry, and it was like go have fun, be yourself, and like I loved it. I loved the idea, and I love like it's just such a transition from Dark Order to LFI to this. So it's like it's all like challenging, but I love that you can like prove like whatever you throw at me, I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? This is definitely the most natural for me, but yeah, I love the idea as soon as I heard it.
And something you've said that Cole Carter would follow you to the ends of the earth. I mean, how do you think that bond developed so strong and so quickly too?
He's like the little brother I never had. It happened at the bar because every week we'd be the last ones at the bar, and we would just be talking and stuff. And it's like, oh, if I want to go here, he would always be like, I'll go. And then like Jameson always makes the joke that we call it the domino, where like if I go, the rest will follow. It's like the domino effect, But I don't know. He's like he's just like a good kid, and I don't know. He's literally like the little brother I never had, and we were always together and talking, and so I don't know. We just kind of clicked.
And you guys have said that what helps with this chemistry and why this group is so successful is that everybody is game for anything. Is there any idea that we have you guys have put on TV that yes, you were game to do it, you weren't so sure that it would get over, but it did?
Honestly, no, I don't think so. I think everything we like ideas that either we came up with or they came up with, we were all like, oh yeah, let this awesome. Like there was nothing that we're like, I don't want to do this, Yeah, I think everything was just like, and that's why I love being with those guys, because they're also like we're always pitching ideas to each other, like in our little group text, and they're just always so game to do anything. Which is I think very invaluable, especially in an industry like pro wrestling, where it's like, yeah, tell us to paint the fence red, we'll paint it red. You know what I mean? Like, no questions asked, we'll do it. So I love working with like-minded guys like that.
Okay. We're going to do a quick rapid fire frat party, house party edition real quick. Best frat party story that you can tell.
Oh, okay. So there was this was St. Patrick's Day, and it was like a Sunday on this year. And I remember me and all my friends, we had there's this massive party at the house, and there were so many people that the whole porch caved in.
Ooh.
And we were like, oh fuck. Basically, I didn't live there. It wasn't my house, it was my friends. But it was like our main party house on campus. And then sure enough, we were like all day drinking. Probably about 6-7 p.m. the landlord showed up and was hammered drunk. And like, he definitely had like a drinking problem. And an older guy, at this point he's probably like 50 some years old. And he was right in one of the guy's faces. And I was like thinking, like, this landlord is about to get in a fight with a bunch of college kids, And then I think his wife stepped in and like pulled him out of the party. And I think the guys who own the house ended up owing a lot of money, because the entire wraparound porch was completely destroyed. Yeah. But that's always my a very memorable college moment for me.
Wow. Who in the group is wildest off camera?
It's definitely a toss up between me and Cole for sure. Griff's the most responsible by a long shot. Jameson, he knows his limits. I think if we go like who doesn't know their limits, is 100% Cole. Yeah. Right. He's kind of the wild card.
What's been the worst hangover?
Oh God. I remember
yourselves.
I remember in college I was drinking. I used to drink Jack a lot, which I don't like whiskey at all anymore. And I remember I was I drank so much, and it might have been my 21st birthday, or maybe I was at Michigan State. I don't know. I was at a hockey game, and my friend will still send me the videos every year when it comes around. And I remember, I was completely blacked out. And I remember there's a video of me in some random bathroom on campus, and I'm sleeping standing up, like bent over, and I just remember throwing up, and it was like black. And it was like that for like 8 days. And I was like, oh my God, like I should go to the hospital. I didn't, but that was probably the worst hangovers after that night.
Best pump up song.
Ooh, pump up song. For what? Working out or going out?
Going out.
Going out. Man, that's hard. It changes all the time. I'm a big country music fan. So like anything like Morgan Wallen. There's this newer artist named Gavin Adcock I like a lot. I would probably say a country song, but I don't know specifically which one.
Okay. Beer or shots? Oh,
shots. Well, depending on what, I guess. I'm normally like a vodka soda guy. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I'm also one of the guys, like, if you just put it in front of me, I'll drink it. So I don't know if I really have like a super preference on either.
Yeah, that's a dangerous thing.
I'm that person.
I have the same issue. Yeah. And then last one I got tailgate or house party.
Oh, that's a good one. I'd say tailgate. It also depends on where and like the weather and stuff. Like if it's like summertime, tailgate's cool. Yeah. But like I hate the cold, man. I'm from Michigan. I hate it.
Did you tailgate for the Jags game this weekend?
No, I didn't, because my flight got in at like noon, and then I decided I'm just gonna go to the beach bars. So then I just got hammered at the beach bars instead. I'm definitely a bar guy. I love bars. I love house parties though too. I don't know, like I said, anything that makes drinking like social, I'll be there.
Love it, man. That's great fucking answers all around. But as we kind of wrap up here, let's kind of transition and talk about what's next. What does success look like for you right now?
Honestly, just like loving what I'm doing. For me, success is just being happy. And like, you know, it's cool. It's cool. Like you had this goal, like you want to do this dream and then you make it, but then it's like, okay, then you make it. And then it's like, now what? And I always find myself like in this cycle of like, what's next? What's next? What's next? And it's like, man, you got to fucking enjoy the moment, you know, instead of always thinking like, what's next? What's next? And that was something, Cody told me actually, because of my early days, you know, and he was there and I would talk to him a lot, and I still talk to him all the time. But it was like you can't let it like consume your whole life. Where it's like if you had a bad week at work, you can't let it ruin the rest of your life. You just have to move on and like, you know, like enjoy the moment and where you're at. So for me, keep doing what I'm doing and being happy, and whatever is thrown my way, do it to the, you know, best of my ability.
Who are a few on that dream opponent list?
Ooh, dream opponent. I mean, Cody's got to be on it. Are we talking in AEW or all time or what?
You can take it wherever you want.
Okay. I would love to. This is an opponent, but I would love to actually like tag with Brody. Would be cool.
Yeah.
And then I would love to long-term storytelling. I'd love to wrestle Little Brody.
That's gonna happen. That's gotta happen, right?
Yeah.
I think he just turned 14, so he's got about 4 more years, and he'll be kicking my ass.
give or take 4 more years.
Yeah. But that's always like, and he's like training and stuff. Like he's, like I was watching some of his videos. Like he'll send me and stuff. Like he's good. You know, it's crazy. Yeah. And he's tall now. So I think he's gonna be like, honestly, really good at wrestling. But I would love to do like something with that, because that would just be like, you know, long-term storytelling in the like a decade, you know.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think of someone current. I mean, I have my favorites who I have wrestled. Like I love wrestling Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, John Moxley's probably my favorite.
It's taking you to the fucking limit, man.
Ever.
Yeah. Call it the world champion. Come on, just do it now.
Yeah. I've wrestled him on the indies a few times, MJF.
It's okay. MJF, he's coming after you. Just get ready.
We've talked about so much here today, Preston, but you know, when we strip everything away, what are you most proud of?
I mean, I guess following my dream and you know, going through all the roadblocks with like health and surgeries and stuff like that, and never like, you know, changing who I am as a person. Because like people, you know, they'll see you as like, oh, you're the wrestler. It's like, I'm not just the wrestler though, you know. It's like so I don't know. I think just like as cheesy as it sounds, staying true like to like who I am and how I was raised and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think I'm most proud of like calling my job, like, you know, I'm having fun. Well, most people can't say that. So I guess just having fun, living life. Yeah, I don't know. You know, you set out a goal at 8 years old and then you achieve it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then, you know, before we sign off here, you got a big match tomorrow night. Any final words for QT, Aaron, and the Von Erichs?
Oh man. Not really. I know QT. I'm sure he owes me a lot of receipts. I've got him probably more than anybody else. Stiffed him a little bit, so.
Okay, so watch for the potatoes. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, probably that.
Preston, thank you so much for joining us, man. This was a fantastic conversation. Been trying to get this together forever now. I'm glad we were able to actually make this happen, because this was just a fantastic conversation.
Oh yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, of course, and thank you to everybody that. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, where can everybody find you on socials, and anything else you got coming up?
Instagram and Twitter is Preston Vance, PRES10VANCE. Coming up, I have some. I'm going to be doing a lot of one fall shows. QT, that his promotion has really taken off, and he's got like a little mini TV deal in Atlanta, and I think
Nice.
Scott Demore just became something as part of his show, like the main creative maybe, which is like that's a big addition. I've been doing a lot of CCW shows in Florida, and then besides that, AEW and Ring of Honor.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to see what you do next, man. And we're certainly rooting for you. That's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you to everybody that joined us. As always, like, share, subscribe. We greatly appreciate everybody that takes the time to hang out with the Wrestling Junkies for the evening. And we can't do this without all of you guys. We'll be back tomorrow with a brand new episode, 7 p.m. Eastern. Preston, hang around for just a quick second. But for Preston Vance, for the podcast dad, I'm Mr. Cincinnati. It's been the Wrestling Junkies podcast. And until tomorrow, enjoy those grabs.